Good morning, everybody. I hope you set your clocks back. It's daylight savings time. Can't believe it's already that time of the year. And if you remember we were talking last time, I had spring fever and spring was in the air. Well, that went away really quick. We had that Monday, and I'm sure anybody who's watched the national weather has seen that we had that big snowstorm again that shut us down. And the last one we had, was that 2 or 3 weeks before that, or just a week? I don't know. You try to forget all that type of stuff, but the other big snowstorm that we had recently was on a Monday also. So thank goodness where I work they offer for if you have to be in it the next morning, or if you're on the night shift, or depending on what shift you work, because they want you to be at work, make it to work. They offer an overnight stay at, if the facility's house is full, then they'll put you up at a local hotel, which is really nice. It was really nice. So I spent last Monday night in the hotel, which I greatly appreciated because, Lord, it was bad driving. Some of the folks that did drive home, they think, oh, it won't be that bad. The next day when they came in, they said it was awful. Everybody's driving time was a minimal of doubled. Whiteout conditions, it was just miserable. And then by the next morning, it was okay. But just getting home, and you didn't know what the next morning was going to bring you. So I stayed overnight, and since I did watch the weather, and I did this when they had this recently also, is I packed an overnight bag just in case you couldn't get home, or it looked like the storm was going to hit where you couldn't get to work, and it was offered. I jumped on it because I tell you what, it's a lot less stress, and it takes me a half hour to get from my house to my job driving the speed limit. Thank you. So I was very grateful to stay overnight, and thank you very much. So that went on. So that kind of wiped out the spring fever I was having, because we got so much snow, and then you had to get plowed out, and things were slippery, and things were a mess again. Welcome to Wisconsin, right? So that was that. And then now we're looking at next week. It's supposed to be like 50 degrees. So this is the time of year in March and April where you just have this yo-yo of weather, of rain and snow and whatever, but we don't usually have the bitter cold. The last time we had the snowstorm, it was like bitter cold, and it was just awful. This one, the temperatures were, I think, were they like around 20-ish? That feels warm to us. You know, it's not below zero, so we're grateful for that. So St. Patrick's Day looks like it's going to be a lovely, like pushing 50-degree day for anybody who goes out and about. We don't usually do too terribly much for St. Patrick's Day. We might go out and find some corned beef maybe, or might go out and have a glass of green beer. One year we did go up to St. Paul, and they have a huge St. Patty's Day parade, and that was really fun and of course festive. And so we did that one year, went up to St. Paul for St. Patrick's Day for all the festivities and the parade, and so that was really fun. But this year we're not doing anything. You know, we're laying low until stuff gets done and whatnot around here. So this morning, since it was so cold and miserable, I was not in a egg or cold cereal mood. I thought I just want some, even though it's not that bitter cold though, I was just in the mood for some oatmeal. Well, I'll tell you my oatmeal story. I had bought some generic oatmeal. I've never had a problem with oatmeal. Oatmeal's oatmeal, right? And every time I made it, no matter how I made it or how I tried, it turned into just a bowl of mush. It was just a big bowl of mush. There was no oatmeal texture to it, and it was I always buy instant oats, but I've never had a problem because I always buy like Quaker instant oats. I can't remember what the brand was. It was bad. I don't like to waste stuff, but I tried to eat it like 3 or 4 different times, and I was like, ugh. It was just like, the flavor wasn't, I don't know, I just didn't like it, so I just bagged it up, threw it in the freezer, and I'll use it for like meatloaf or meatballs or something. So I had steel cut oats, and one of my friends that I used to work with, Roseanne, told me a couple years back, we were talking about health and eating and whatever, always a topic, right? And she said, why don't you try steel cut? I'm like, oh, I've never had that before. So I bought it. I thought, oh, it would just probably be a heartier regular oatmeal. And it is. It's oatmeal. And the nutritional value between quick oats and long cooking oats and steel cut oats, the nutritional value is all the same. So I opened it thinking it was going to look like my regular oatmeal flakes. even the ones that aren't quick oats are still have a little bit of processing to them before you get them. Whereas steel cut oats are cut oats. They're not processed at all. And they are cut into 3 pieces generally, it says. I don't know where 3 pieces come in. But anyway. And it looks kind of like rice green, brown rice greeny and stuff. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh, how is this going to be? But I loved it. It reminded me kind of a cross of oatmeal flavor, which is delicious. I love that. And kind of like not taste like grape nuts, but kind of a grape nutty, hearty, nutty taste to it because it's the whole kernel of oat. So I had steel cut oats this morning and I loved them. But man, and it's not any different than oatmeal, but it just seems like it fills you up. I think it's because you have that little bit of more texture to it, like you little more, like you're eating a little more, even though you're not. It's the same volume or whatever. So that's how I started my late morning, because since it was daylight savings time, I'm not a morning person anyway, as you know. Everything I got put off today. So I've been up and at 'em and doing stuff, and you're like, what's going on? Because you can tell it's hair dyeing day. I dyed my hair today. So then I don't usually fix it and stuff, because, you know, after you dye it, as I usually have said, is you put that deep conditioner on it. So it's kind of like heavier and stuff. And I thought I don't want to weigh my hair down with a whole bunch of, like, you know, what you usually put on, either styling mousse or a styling spray, and maybe a heat protectant if you're going to curl it, or all types of layers of stuff. So I thought I just want to just have nice, fresh, clean hair, and just put a tiny, tiny bit of hairspray on it today and just blew it out. And I just thought I'm just going to leave it as is and just put a little bit of headscarf on it and stuff, because I am gung-ho since the weather is so ishy tomorrow. And I stayed in loungewear all day yesterday, so I was hoping nobody popped in because they're like, oh, you're sick or something. And I just stayed in loungewear, which is just, you know, I wear like capri pants, or like they're kind of like not capri, like regular capri pants, but you know, like the stretchy yoga-y-ish material stuff. Because sweatpants would get too heavy, and those long yoga pants just get too, I'm always so warm. So I just did loungewear yesterday, and I went to town on, I decided to do some of that stuff that you put off, and I'm not kidding, put off for 5+, I can't even tell you how long that I have had this wad of, and it must have been 3 chains and maybe 5 necklaces. And who knows, probably because I don't know what I did, if they got tangled up in my jewelry box or what caused the configuration of mess that I had. But I had all of these necklaces that were in just a big wad. And I'm sure there's other of you that may have only had a couple, but I mean, I had a mass. I don't know if I had thrown them all in a drawer or a little bin. I don't know what I did. So I thought, I'm going to get those. And I almost I'm scared. Like, no, there's a couple of them that I wanted in there. And they're gold. They were gold chains. They're sterling silver or white gold. So I worked on it for like an hour and a half yesterday, took a break, worked another hour, and I got two of my chains free and one of my necklaces that have a beautiful little opal on it. So I got that done, and I'm down to like, I think there's 3 necklaces in there. It's still a pretty big mass. But you know, you have to, what I do when I do it is I just take like a mirror or a hard surface, and then I put it down, and you kind of work it away with your fingers, and then take a, like, you know, I use like my hat pins, you know, take a little hat pin and just try to get it all apart. And it's a project. And I was done with that. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to straighten out all of my jewelry, and, you know, just kind of like one of those, I call it drawer cleaning day. And I thought, I'm going to go through all my jewelry and put it, because I had some in a suitcase. I had some in my bathroom. I had some in a thing out in the kitchen. I had all my nice jewelry, my really nice jewelry, strewn about in like 6 or 7 different places, all over the place. And then I'm like, oh, some of it I think I'm missing, or some of it's gone. And well, I found everything. I found some of the pieces that I thought I had lost. They were stuck somewhere. So I organized all of that and did all my good jewelry and got that all organized. And then I decided to organize all of my vintage jewelry from my mom and grandma and whatnot, and some gifted stuff I had gotten. And I just had met with my girlfriends here not that long ago, and her mother had passed, and she had some of her mother's vintage jewelry, and a lot of it looked like it was from probably like the 80s, and I'm not an 80s gal, but if you remember, the 80s fashions were kind of a retro 40s throwback, which I didn't think about at the time in the 80s when I was wearing it. You know, some of it wasn't, but a lot of it was 40s throwback. So it gave me a lot of earrings that were like the round button earrings. And then I got those, and I had gotten a dress, and I thought, you know what I'd like to do? It's going to be on my list of many other things. Is, you know, because I'm watching that Downton Abbey, waiting for season 7. I would like to do maybe a Downton Abbey lookbook of maybe just a couple of the characters' outfits, because I thought I have this stuff to do it. And of course, it's going to be the young girls, because I'm not a young gal. So I can't remember her name, but she was the shopkeeper lady. You know, she's a widow, and she hooked up with a widower who does the maintenance stuff for the nuns and whatnot. Did I say Downton Abbey? I think I said Downton Abbey. Lord, call the midwife. I'm like, not doing Downton Abbey. That was like Edwardian 20s. Oh, Lord. So if I did say Downton Abbey, I didn't mean Downton Abbey. I meant call the midwife. Or maybe I didn't say it. Whatever. So I'm going to do call the midwife. So there's a couple of like the age appropriate outfits that I thought I've kind of got a dress that she wore one of the shows. And then the earrings and stuff. So I think I'm going to do a couple call the midwife looks just for fun sometime. And it's just going to be a quick little, hopefully, right, little video of like maybe a 5-minute one of like what I put together, and maybe get a snapshot of what's that called when they do that? They stole the look or whatever. It's really vintage. I mean, not stole the look, but I thought that'd be kind of fun. I got so many things on my list to do, and I will get to them. I'm doing them. I'm getting organized today. I'm out of closet space. I am out of closet space. I have a closet behind me, and it's like packed. The closet behind me is just packed full of vintage clothes. Vintage clothes, and some of my husband's. My husband's don't take up very much though. And then I have my camper that has my late 60s, early 70s vintage clothes in it. And that's kind of like the double knit polyester stuff. I have been downstairs and it was really fun. Do you remember the double knit polyester, and they were shirts, kind of, my puppy's in here scratching if you hear that, shirt that had like the weird funky prints on them, you know, they were really kind of bold, and you wore them with polyester pants. Well, I had scrapped together enough that all of us, I have to find that picture. It's on one of my videos from ages ago. But we all dressed up in double knit polyester shirts with these prints on them and the polyester pants, and wore them when we road tripped up north for a girls' weekend. That was pretty fun. So anywho, I got a tub of that stuff. I have a tub of like some vintage dresses that I had picked up. And this was way before I was even doing vintage dressing and all into that stuff. It was when I was probably started in my 30s. And I still am, I'm into Halloween. Love Halloween. And I used to, during Halloween season, rent out Halloween costumes. I had come across a local thrift store that had like the Halloween floor, and they went out of business, and I walked out of there with the trunkfuls of vintage clothes and Halloween costumes and that type of stuff. And I had all that stuff for years and years, and I rented out stuff maybe for 5 years, and I kind of quit because people wouldn't return the stuff. I didn't have any. It was just like a little side thing. I probably didn't make that. I probably made as much as I spent on stuff for Halloween, you know, for our costumes that year, because I used to sew. So, and we used to do group outings, so there might be anywhere from 6 to 10 of us all going out, and we'd always like do a theme, and I'd always make the costumes. So anywho, I did that for like 5 years, and I, with all my moving through the years, I thought, okay, what are you going to do with all this stuff? So I kept out only some of the prime vintage clothes, so maybe 6 or 7 pieces that were nice and wearable. I mean, you know, these clothes were rented out as costumes before I got them, so they weren't in the best shape at that point. So I kept those pieces, and the rest of this, and I bet you I had, oh Lord, I don't know, maybe 200 pieces of different vintage clothes, like I said, but not in nice shape, or They were bad. They've been worn many times. And costume type stuff that I donated to the Ellsworth High School theatrical department way back. That must have been 15 years ago. But I did keep some prime pieces. So I have those stored away. So between my camper, this closet, I have 1 or 2 bins down in the basement, and then I have a dresser full of vintage clothes. And then I have in my bedroom, I don't even know how I got off on this. In my bedroom, I have my reproduction stuff. So my ModCloth, my Lindy Bop, some Retrolicious stuff. So I keep that there. And I'm like, I'm not a purist. I mean, stuff can get mixed together, and that's fine. And I used to be like, oh, if I wear vintage, I can only wear vintage. If I wear reproduction, I can only wear reproduction. And I have kind of loosened up, like, why? I mean, why can't you just do anything you want to do? So I find some stuff that I get from, and some of the stuff that I'm taking to Viva. I'm looking over here because that's where I brought since it's so packed, I don't have room for stuff, and my son and my husband get really sick of everything hanging on the doors and the doorways all over the house. So I brought, I have an old vintage clothes rack that I started putting together my vintage outfits and my reproduction outfits for Viva. So I have them hanging here. That's why I'm looking over there. I was just looking at, because I had nowhere to put. I want them out so I can see what I got. I want them out so I know what I'm going to be taking. But I'm out of room. So I'm going to have to go through my closet because other than, if I'm going up north, and if I go up north, I do have some house dresses that I wear up there. And if we're going to go down for stuff down at the tavern where they have things going on for a holiday weekend, then I'll wear vintage down there for that. But a lot of the time, because I'm sitting on the campfire, I'm fishing, I'm down at the dock, I'm walking through the woods, a lot of times I wear these capri danskin yoga feeling things with sweatshirts and shorts and stuff. So I don't wear vintage I don't want to wreck it. I don't want to get ash on it, or I don't want to rip it on something or whatever. So I'm up at the lake, other than if we're going somewhere doing something or going down the tavern for something for festivities. I don't wear vintage up north. Except like in the house I do, though. I mean, I wear my house dresses and stuff in the house. So I look at all these clothes. I need to go through them. I will never wear all because I have my vintage clothes that, I have some stuff that is a little bit big for me, but I keep it, I cinch it in. Some stuff that fits me now. I have some stuff that when I started doing that fits me, and I have some stuff that's smaller size. So I have, if I just had just what I wear right now in my vintage stuff, I wouldn't have so much. But I'm not going to, because my weight goes up and down, unfortunately. I'm not going to get rid of that stuff. Whereas my everyday clothes that I don't wear that often, I'm going to go through there again because I'm going to wear my vintage stuff. And some of the stuff that I got, I'm a clearance shopper. It's like I bought it on clearance and I had all these plans that I was going to do this or that. And it was before I got a lot of vintage stuff that it had vintage vibe to it that I could vintage out. But now I have enough vintage clothes or vintage reproduction clothes that I don't need to dress up some plain stuff. So I think I might give away, sorry, my eyes teared up. I might be giving away some of my, it's like Target stuff that you could vintage out, and some of the things like that I might give away when I do my spring giveaway, because I have that Lindy Bop dress that I'm going to give away, and I have some makeup and just spring stuff that I'm just going to, I have always had that spring fling giveaway. So I'm going to give away some stuff, a little like grand prize package of like Lindy Bop dress, and I might throw some vintage inspired things that I haven't worn that are in my closet that I had plans for that I don't need to wear because I have enough vintage stuff for 5 people probably. So anyway, that's all that's going on. It's just kind of a low-key weekend, just purging and cleaning like we always do. Starting to hang out with for Viva. So I was gonna like buy some jewelry to go with my tiki dress. And you should always, like, this is one good thing where when I'm cleaning all this stuff and organizing everything, I know what I was going to say now. It's like, oh my God, I'm glad I didn't buy, because I have that tiki dress, right, that I showed you the prints and colors, and I'm like, oh, I kind of need to get some jewelry to go with that because I really don't want to wear, like, I want to wear tiki inspired stuff. When I wore my, if I can find it, excuse me. When I wore my dress last year, which was a circle skirt, tiki print circle skirt, it didn't have tiki stuff on it. It was just tropical. I had this pin and I had this pair of Frankenstein earrings that I know it was just kind of kitschy cute, you know. I wore that last year and I'm like, oh, I could wear that again. But this has had blues and oranges, and I thought, so I've been kind of looking online on Etsy for jewelry to go with that tiki dress. Well, from my cleaning, and I can't remember when I got this or where I got it, but remember that it's kind of oranges and reds and greens and blues. I had this bangle bracelet. That will go perfectly with that. And this is before I bought that dress, and I can't remember where I got these. Who knows, but they're made out of some type of carved stone or something. But look at this. Are you kidding me? They're little tiki heads. And they're made out of like some kind of stone or agate or something that's been carved. How could you match it anymore? So it's like, I need to hold up before I think I need to buy this or that to go with this or that, because I have it already. And then I started looking at all my like flowers and stuff, and I have a flower to go with this, and I got a flower to go with that. So, but even though I'm still trying to pick through, okay, like, Mary, what are you really gonna wear and not wear, and then gift or give away some of my stuff. Like when I do my spring fling giveaway for my grand prizer, I'm going to have that dress, and then I had found this. Didn't find this. I'm sorry. I had got this in my lot of Poison Designs, and it was a hat with red roses on it, and it really went with another dress. But I just thought, no, there's just something I just didn't like the way it sat on my head and stuff. So I thought I'm gonna give that one away. So I've only like tried it on a couple times. I've never like taken it out for a test drive even. And then like some other little goodie stuff. But time to purge, time to get rid of it. And I seem like, I bet you every other coffee that I have with you, I'm organizing, purging, and get rid of stuff because I don't want to become a hoarder. Because you know, you look sometimes, look at your life, oh Lord, it's tilting, it's time to purge and clean. My goals in my life are to get everything organized and cleaned. That's where I was going before when I told you I forgot I was going to say. So my basement right now, I had gotten new living room furniture, which Lord was it needed. And I really wanted to do mid-century modern furniture. We have, you know, a 77, 78 house. So it's got that split level mid-century vibe where these are cookie cutter houses. You say 8 million of them, different sizes and shapes and formats, but it's a split level. And it's got the dark walnut trim around the windows and the doors and stuff. But when I moved in here, it had a lot of oak stuff, which I'm like, I don't care. I'm not that picky. So I wanted to get mid-century modern. Well, my son talked me out of it. And he says, Mom, you know, we're loungers, you know, we like to like watch movies and have great big comfortable couch. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, and that mid-century modern stuff is comfortable, but it's more structured and it's not like a big fluffy sink into couch, right? So I went to Slumberland and I found this one that I like the style. It had really dark, like my trim around my windows, dark trim front on the couches, and then it had matching end tables and coffee table. So it was like, oh, you know, but let's be realistic. I mean, I guess if we weren't the type of people that we are, where we all like hang out and watch movies together, and on Friday nights we'll sit and eat our pizza dinner in the living room in front of the TV on the couches, lay on the couches with the dog. My husband will lay down, I'll be on the couch, the two dogs will be on the one couch. So I thought, just get that out of your head. Oh, maybe someday. No, I don't think so. I think we just like the comfort, even though some of those mid-century modern structured things are comfortable, but we kind of like them melt into the couch type feel. So I'm switching out all that type of stuff, and then the TV stand that we have, which I got at Salvation Army for $40, so that can go bye-bye. I need to get a TV stand that matches the dark woodwork and kind of maybe revamp a few things. So I have the end table and coffee tables down in the basement because I don't want to get rid of them, because my son Zach made it back to Wisconsin. He is so ecstatic. He called me when he was on the Wisconsin border, and I'm like, what do you mean you're even home? I just thought you just finished your job a day and a half ago. He had his car packed. He got in it and he took off. As soon as he was done, he wanted to be out of He wanted to be out of Texas. He wanted to get back to Wisconsin. He just missed the state and the weather. And even like the weather, I'm like, yep, he's a snow guy. He likes to snowboard, and he likes the changing of the season. So he was like so ecstatic to come back home, and we're all happy. I mean, it's great. It was a great adventure to go try something and live something different, but he just felt more comfortable. He wanted his roots back here. He said maybe someday I'll move out west, like Oregon or Washington, or he'd like out in the mountains. But I don't know for what he does in the living room, what he does for a living room. For a living, you know, it's kind of like you got to go where the work is. So he had this opportunity up in Duluth, and there'll be a branch office somewhere in northern Lord, get my state straight, Wisconsin. So he's back home. He's got to go find a place to live, but he doesn't start his new job for like another month. So he's got plenty of time. So I'm holding on to this furniture until he gets a place where he's going to live temporarily in Duluth. Probably is going to be furnished or something. You know, it's a college town because he doesn't want anything permanent, because he's probably going to, or he will be when the other office opens up moving. So I'm holding on to this coffee table and tables, which are oak and they're very nice. And then the futon we have in the basement, we're holding on to all that stuff. So my basement is just like the one side is okay, but the other side is like these tables and these end tables. And I still have his guitar and like 2 or 3 totes sitting over there from when he moved down to Texas. I have totes in storage. So we're hoping he gets up, gets settled this summer so we can get some of this stuff and get all the cluster of furniture in my basement out. Because we have a little house here. We don't have a lot of room. So I'm excited for him to be home, him to get settled, him to get to where he's going to be in a permanent spot. And then hopefully I can give some of this stuff to him. Otherwise, we'll take it to Salvation Army. But I'm kind of hanging on to it because I don't want to get rid of it because he might need it. Don't we do that a lot? Don't we hang on to a lot of things because we might need it, you might need it, they might need it, my family might need it. So we best hold on to it in case somebody needs it. Then you're stuck with it and causing all this cluster in your house and stuff. But it is what it is right now. I'm just glad to do the little joys of organizing jewelry. Cleaning on a drawer, getting my hair dyed today. I'm happy with the simple pleasures today. And like I said, nothing big or exciting going on, just living life today, living life this weekend. I don't have to work call for a couple more weeks, so it's nice to have another coffee. I can't remember the last time that we had 2 coffees in 1 month. Very nice. Like I said, I don't have anything specific to talk about. Just the weather. What else? You know, when you go to somebody's house, what do you talk about? Just chit chat and nothing specific sometimes. It's just the company of it all, right? So just a low-key weekend. Continue with my organization of life as always. And last night, Saturday night, you know, everybody has dish cable and all those whatnot, Hulu, Vudu, all that good stuff. But some of my TV sets like up north and at home, I don't have any of that. I just have antenna TV, which I love. I get probably, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 channels depending on the weather and what's coming in. But Saturday night I love it because there's Me TV, which is Memorable Entertainment TV, and Comet TV. So they have like the old kitschy, I mean like old kitschy stuff. So they have on Saturday night, it's called Svengoolie, and he is like a funny, like scary, comes out of his coffin, but cheesy, narrates the old-time science fiction horror movies from back in the day, and he'll say little things during the commercial breaks, and I just love him. And then he does a little wrap-up at the end, so I look forward to watching that on Saturday night, you know, get all my stuff done, and get my pajamas on, I get my little facial mask, and get all set, and watch him. And then later what came on, and they always have like stuff like that, right? You know, like Star Trek, or like the old TV, I Dream of Jeannie, that type of stuff. And then later they had, must have been about 11 o'clock, Jack Night Stalker came on. Oh my God, I love him. He was kind of like a cheesy detective, a lot of cheese going on, detective that would solve horror, supernatural mysteries of things. But it wasn't like Scooby-Doo, where it was like somebody dressed up as a monster or demon or whatever. It was like real stuff. So back in the day, somebody commented on my Facebook page that scared the bejeebers out of them when they were young. And I remember that. Oh, it was always those, there were such scary stories, even though he was kind of like he was kind of like cheesy, like I said. He still did the detective work, like old-time detective with the hat and the tie, and to solve these supernatural mysteries or found out what was going on or whatever. So that came on at 11, so I just love that. So Cole Jack Night Stalker, I watched that. So that wrapped up my weekend, and today I'm just keeping going with what I'm doing. And oh Lord, getting ready for my work week and doing just normal life stuff. Like I said, nothing really great going on. Just sitting here having coffee with you guys and looking at the snow out the window. But it will be melting next weekend for St. Patty's Day. Maybe we'll get out of the house and do something just for the nice weather. Maybe go for a little Sunday drive or something next weekend. That would be nice. Sometimes you just need to get out of Dodge. Last night we went out to the fish fry. I don't know if it's this way where you are. A lot of times there's fish fries all the time, right? But this is being the Lenten season. There's an increase of businesses and restaurants or whatever having fish specials or fish fries or fish buffets. So we totally take advantage of that because I love nothing better than a good old-fashioned fish fry. And I just watch it, you know, because I'm on my diet yet, which is going slow. I'm kind of like, I lost, and like, I'm kind of like 3 days of just like, what's going on? Just hold up, it will be okay. So we went to the fish fry, but you know, just stuck to, unfortunately there's no fat-free salad dressing, stuck to a nice great big salad. And then for dinner they had baked non-breaded fish, which was great. So I had that and had a little few deep fried shrimp, just a couple, because those aren't good, right? And then steamed vegetables, which are great. So I stuck really well to my diet stuff and just ate a crap load of broiled fish, which was delicious. And then for dessert, I had coffee, as always. And then they had homemade bread pudding, which I just love. Oh, love, love, love. But I just had just a little, like maybe 3 tablespoons of it, just so I could, and I ate it so slow and savored it, because bread pudding, Lord, you want to talk about calories and fat and cholesterol and Lord, what sugar through the roof. So just moderation with that. Oh Lord. But I was so full from all of my fish. You know, you were satisfied because you didn't go in with an empty stomach eating dessert. You had a full fish tummy. So I only just ate a little bit. That was good. So that's all going on. Like I said, maybe we'll get out and about next weekend with that nice weather. Sometimes it's really nice and you don't get out, you kind of feel like pissy about it because you wasted that lovely day. Even though there will be more around the corner. Might be a blizzard the next weekend. So everybody take care. Thanks for coming over for coffee until we have coffee again. Have a nice day. And if I don't see you before, happy St. Patty's Day. Bye.